Once upon a time, in a world filled with the high achievers and ambitious individuals, there was a creature that lurked in the shadows. This creature haunted the minds of many, making them doubt their accomplishments and never allowing them to fully appreciate themselves for who they were. We know this creature as the Imposter Syndrome. One of the victims of this creature was Mark. Mark had always been a high achiever. He was top of his class in a high school, went on to attend a good university, and landed a successful job in his field. Despite his achievements, however, Mark often felt like a fraud. He would dismiss any compliments and downplay his accomplishments, convinced that he didn't really deserve them. The more successful Mark was, the more intense his feelings of self-doubt and unworthiness became. This shadow, known as Imposter Syndrome, tightens its grip on the minds of sensitive and smart individuals, sowing the seeds of doubt and insecurity. Our journey begins with understanding the nature of this creature. Imposter syndrome is a psychological phenomena where people, despite their achievements, feel like they are frauds and that their success is undeserved. They attribute their accomplishments to luck rather than their own abilities. The story of imposter syndrome affects people from all walks of life, from students to CEOs, from artists to scientists. It does not discriminate, and it's a common experience shared by many high achievers. While the term imposter syndrome was coined by the psychologists in 1978, the concept has roots that can be tracked back to philosophical ideas and discussions. Greek philosopher Socrates is famous for his paradox. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. This paradox suggests that true wisdom comes from recognizing our own ignorance and embracing constant state of learning. Seeing your weaknesses can be helpful, as you can start working on improving them. But when you only focus on your shortcomings without realizing and appreciating your competence, this will inevitably lead to feelings of not being good enough, crushing your soul, and lack of enthusiasm. At the core of imposter syndrome lies a complex web of psychological processes and predispositions that can trigger and inflate feelings of fraudulence. Perfectionists often feel that they need to achieve perfection in every aspect of their lives. This constant striving for perfection can lead to feelings of never being good enough and self-doubt when they inevitably fall short of their expectation. Moreover, perfectionists tend to have all-or-nothing mentality, which means that they believe that they are either perfect or a complete failure. This black and white thinking can exacerbate imposter syndrome, as they feel that any minor mistake or a failure is proof that they are not as competent as they thought they were. Another way that perfectionism fuels imposter syndrome is through the need of validation and recognition. Perfectionists often rely heavily on external validation, such as praise from others, to reinforce their sense of self-worth. When perfectionists do not receive validation, they might interpret it as evidence that they are not as competent as they thought they were, which again reinforces their feeling of imposter syndrome. There are other manifestations of this syndrome, like the expert, who is convinced that they must know everything. Experts might continually seek out new information and training, never feeling competent enough to consider themselves as true experts. Or the soloist, believing that they must accomplish everything independently, viewing reliance on others as a sign of weakness or incompetence. The common theme around all of these is unrealistic expectations and the impossible high standards and constant self-doubt. While it's difficult to completely eliminate imposter syndrome, it is possible to manage and minimize its impact on your life. The goal should not be to completely get rid of it, but rather to learn how to cope with it and use it as a motivator for growth and personal development. Awareness is the key to change, and here are some common signs that can help you recognize if you are experiencing imposter syndrome. You constantly doubt your abilities even when others praise you for your work. You are afraid of failing, and this fear stops you from taking risks or trying new things. You push yourself too hard to achieve perfection and often feel like you never measure up. You downplay your successes and attribute them to luck or external factors rather than acknowledging your own abilities. You constantly compare yourself to others and feel like you fall short. You might engage in self-sabotaging behaviors such as procrastination to avoid possibility of failure. If you recognize any of these signs in yourself, it's possible that you might be experiencing imposter syndrome. It's helpful to understand that imposter syndrome affects many successful individuals, and that feeling like an imposter is a common human experience. It would be useful if you could share your experience with somebody you can trust or a professional. Speaking about it can be extremely helpful, as it could allow you to externalize the feeling and develop some strategies to deal with it. By keeping those feelings in a shadow, you give it more power, allowing it to control your life. However difficult, it would be much better if you could bring those feelings into the light. Accepting that imposter syndrome is a natural and somewhat necessary part of a growth process can also be very helpful, especially for high achievers. As you push yourself to the new highest, it's absolutely normal to feel some level of self-doubt or fear of failure. This mindset shift can help you foster resilience and confidence in the face of new learning experiences. Practice self-compassion actively. Cultivate kindness and understanding towards yourself. Acknowledging your accomplishments and growth areas without judgment or harsh criticism could be difficult at first, but you must take responsibility for your relationship with yourself. I'm sure you can offer some level of understanding and compassion to your friends. You owe yourself the same treatment. This will definitely help you reduce the intensity of negative feelings. If you could only give the same level of focus and significance to your accomplishments and successes as you give it to your shortcomings and mistakes, you would feel much different about yourself and your actions. Recognize and celebrate your accomplishments, big or small. Reward yourself for hard work and perseverance. Celebrating your successes can help you build confidence and reinforce positive self-beliefs. With persistence and support, you can learn how to manage imposter syndrome and develop a stronger sense of self-worth. I don't believe you want to go through life without being grateful and proud of your accomplishments. I wish you strength and courage to embark on this adventure. Humility and modesty are great virtues, but they need to be balanced with a sense of self-worth and acceptance. Unmask your imposter and reclaim your rightful place in the world. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.